just to go back a little bit, the most important thing is to transform your mind. To transform. If you were to ask, what is the essence of Buddhism? It's to tame this mind. Tame, conquer, or understand. To transform. You see, because why? If you conquer your mind, if you transform your mind, or if you tame your mind, then what happens? Then your personal experience and your perception will be transformed. So, mind itself, if you really look deeply into the mind itself is like a crystal. It's pure. Like the sky, like the crystal. Crystal, you see, whatever you place under it, if you put green cloth, it becomes green. Yellow cloth, it becomes yellow. Red cloth becomes yellow, red. Whatever you occupy your mind is that. That's why Buddha said in the very famous Dhammapada, he said, we are what we think. All that we are arise with our thoughts. With the thoughts we make the world. Speak or act with impure mind and trouble will follow you, as the wheel follows the ox that draws the cart. There should be little music there. Little Sita. We are what we think. All that we are arise with the thoughts. With the thoughts we make the world. Speak or act with pure mind, and happiness will follow as your shadow unshakable. Even Shakespeare says in Hamlet, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Or sometimes we say it very simply, say, nothing is good or bad, thinking makes it so. But the correct this quote is, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. It's the thinking. So that's why you see, recently there's a very famous book, there's a book that's a kind of a bestseller in America and everywhere, called Secret. There they were saying, I think some of you may have heard about that. And there, when they speak of the power of mind, if you really have positive thought and vision, and really think, visualize your future, positively thinks, it really seemed to work. That's why I think prayers work. Mulam, prayer, when you go to sacred places, like the Cho in Chichu and other places, and the Guru Rinpoche. That Guru Rinpoche is incredible. When I see that Guru Rinpoche with Khenzen Rinpoche, you see, built at the request of the Majesty Queen Mother, I mean, really, he actually put so many sacred relics, images, and thermas in that. It just imbued with so much blessing. And then, of course, he did many, many practice and parties. So when you go there, it's palpable. That blessing is palpable. I mean, you can feel the blessing. You can even smell it almost. You got it? It's incredible. It's a tremendous blessing. So places like that, when you make really prayers, not selfish prayers, but really, if you do, I really believe they come to. In my life, many things that I've achieved are as a result of prayer. I really have full conviction of that. I started very small. Very humbly I began my work with just few students. But constantly I prayed very much to my masters, sought their guidance, and to the Buddhas anyway. So prayer. So therefore, mind is very powerful. You understand? You see. But also what's important to know is that according to the founder of the cognitive therapy, when you have a strong outburst of emotions, such as anger, for example, it masks reality up to 90% by adding on to it your prejudices and distorted the view of things. So you see, so when we are in a situation from the point of view of anger, we can say that there is 90% mental projection and 10% really corresponding to reality. That's why when you talk about shunyata or tongbani, shunyata or tongbani is not just emptiness, nothingness, not at all. Really it means is when you're free of your concepts, your projections and your prejudices, when your mind becomes open, then you begin to see more reality, see things more objectively. You understand? So the thing about the Buddhism, it's such, you see, it makes sense, everything. There's no any discrepancy. Everything is just, succinct. So on the other hand, if we have a calm, serene mind, then it'll be much easier for us to be objective and see reality more as it is. By the way, I'm sharing with you something very precious. I think you know that, isn't it? Yeah. You don't get this every day. Don't hear this every day. Really. So therefore, please respect not me, but the teachings, which are extremely precious, really. And therefore, when you really realize that, and really when there's appreciation, like when you go and see a good movie, you'll be sitting on the edge. So this is a real good movie. The best there is. This movie is called Nature Mind. And we are all the actors in it. And so very much you see, therefore, when you feel what extraordinary teaching this is, then you feel inspired. And then all tiredness, sleepiness, everything goes away. Really. And it's true, it works. So you need to inspire yourself. Anyway, so what I'm going to share with you basically is like this. To put it very simply, you see, Buddhism is always be called tap and sherap. Tap is skillful means. Tap is method. Okay? And sherap is wisdom. In Sanskrit, paya prajna. Okay? Now, tap is method, but actually not just method. It's skillful means more. Because you may have a method, but if you don't use it skillfully, it's not no use. Most important is skillful means. Skillful means and wisdom. But in fact, skillful means is compassion. So you can call it wisdom compassion. Okay? Wisdom and compassion, or wisdom skillful means is the same thing. And they're like the two wings of the bird. And they are related to what is called true truths, dembani. Because actually what is called, what are the true truths? The absolute, the ultimate. That is to say, how things are in the intrinsic nature, in the ultimate nature, is called Töntam. Töntamba, the real meaning. The real meaning. The different. And Kunzop is the appearance. So the skillful means on the level of appearance, on the relative level, and wisdom is on the level of ultimate. But they go hand in hand, the interplay of that. Skillful means to inspire wisdom. From wisdom comes skillful means, the compassion. So these two employ. That's why when you talk about meditation or any of the Buddhist practice, it's always combined with these two methods, or what is called skillful means wisdom. So that in meditation, because anyway, when you talk about transforming the mind, because now perhaps you realize, you see, when you transform the mind, what do you get? You come to slowly, to purifying your mind, you come to realize your Buddha mind. You understand? It's a bit like, you see, our real nature of mind is like the sky. But our ordinary thoughts, emotions like the clouds that obscure it. But through meditation, because there are three methods, through meditation, through compassion, through devotion, through these things, you see, it's like taking a plane. And you go, when you cross the clouds, it's a little bit turbulent, but when you go beyond the cloud, then you see an infinite sky that never ever been touched by the clouds. So when you, through meditation, you come to the deep mind, your sky-like nature of your mind. When you come to discover that, then you find really the contentment, the happiness, the inner peace, and then you discover yourself. You feel the happiness that's born from within. Is that right? That's really. Because that's the most precious than anything else, is that. Now, to realize that ultimate nature, and also what is amazing, the teaching on Buddha nature, that's something very amazing, and very good news, is that our Buddha nature, in spite of all our negative karma and all our destructive emotions, that means negative karma is like Lengamba Dikpa, Diva is obscure. In spite of that, our Buddha nature is never touched, never stained. Bit like cloud may cover the sky, but when you take a plane go, it never touch. A thing good cancer, but you say cloud depend on sky non-dependently. Poor cloud, they hang ridiculously in the middle. Belongs nowhere. So you have compassion for yourself also, for your thoughts. You have compassion for your thoughts. You have compassion for your anger, for your desire. But you don't be involved. Now here, a very good example is a movie projector. You like movies, huh? Movie projector. Movie projector, I won't go into the whole detail. Movie projector works exactly like all the sense organs, like the frames are the pictures, the fickleness of the mind. But behind the movie projector, if you really look, you look, there's a bulb that's giving the light, okay? But without this light, there's no cinema, isn't it? Now, light is being used by the cinema. But what's interesting is that bulb is not at all involved in cinema. Completely not involved. That's why actually if you're someone who knows the nature of mind, knows really his nature, his mind, in a true sense, when anger comes, desire comes, it's like the bulb watching the cinema. It's not involved. When anger comes, you don't go for it. In fact, you come back to your true nature, to the clear light of nature of your mind. It's a bit like Khenchen Rinpoche is a great example. His being is completely removed from the world, the care and consent, yet he is very much there, present, as he's more there than anybody, but just completely not involved. So that's why you see, when you come to nature of mind, come to know, you begin to just let go of your thoughts. You don't really think they are not so, because they come and go. Thoughts come and go. Past thought is past. Future thought is not yet present, not yet right. Only thing we have is the present awareness. But the moment you start thinking, it's past. So just remaining, therefore, remaining in the present. That's why it's a very wonderful example. In Sikkim, there's this, the political officer, when Sikkim was a protected state. That time the political officer, he was also the Indian government representative in Lhasa after the British Raj. His name was Appapant. He was a very great man, really. He was a disciple of my Master Jamgon Khyentse Lodri. And he always used to ask Jamgon Khyentse Lodri how to meditate. How to meditate. Again and again. I mentioned this in the Tibetan Book of Living. Some of you may have read it. How to meditate, how to meditate. So one day he was watching like a dance, like a chechu, dance, he was dancing. And there was Atar was making kind of really something. Khenchen Rinpoche was very amused. But there was Appapant pestering him, saying, how to meditate, how to meditate. And so Khenchen Rinpoche said in such a voice, saying that, okay, he didn't say, I'm going to tell you once, then don't bother me anymore. He didn't say that. But he said in such a very definitive way. He said, look, he said. He gazed at him, said, look, he said. When the past thought had ceased, before another thought yet risen, isn't there a little gap? And then Appapant said, yes. Then Jamgon Khyentse said, well, now, prolong it. That's meditation. And that was really a very high teaching. When the lamas do what's called ngotu, semgu ngotu, it's that. That's why this, by the way, is a semchi. Guiding to the nature of mind, really. It's a semchi. So very much, you see, do not follow the past, no anticipated future, but remain in the present awareness of nowness. Is really the meditation at the highest level, at the level of wisdom. You understand? At the level of wisdom. But then, of course, not all of us can realize this immediately. So therefore, we need to follow the graduated path by using the skillful means of training the mind to meditation through maybe through mindfulness, like watching a breath or looking at an image of a Buddha or Guru Rinpoche. Particularly, it's amazing, this image of Guru Rinpoche, Guru Ngandama, looks like me image of Padmasambhava. It was, I say, because it was destroyed during the Cultural Revolution. It was in Samye, which is really the great center built by King Sison Detse. And there, Guru Rinpoche and that Vimala Mitra and many, many great masters brought, really established, such as Bodhisattva Shantarakshita, brought all the sutra teachings, Guru Rinpoche, and brought all the Vajrayana teachings in Vimala Mitra, because two great masters brought the Dzogchen teachings, Guru Rinpoche and Vimala Mitra. And so on the ground floor, the Nimanakaya, you see the temple there, because it's shaped in the what's called in the Trikaya mandala. You know? And there is this image of Guru Rinpoche. And it was believed to be that it was made during the time of Guru Rinpoche, somebody made it, and it made to really look like him. And he's believed to have come and said, oh, when he was being made, he said, oh, this looks like me. So it came to be known as looks like me. But afterwards, when he was completed, he blessed and said that this is the same as me. I remember as a child coming there on pilgrimage with Jamin Kintsujiloru. And we were there for 30 days doing 100,000 sok offerings. And every evening, just by mere chance, because in those days, communication was very difficult, you know. We could really never, there's no mobiles these days, you know. So, let alone even telephones also. So, but just by mere chance, this great Dzogchen Rinpoche and all the great Dzogchen Khenpos all came there. And then they all received this great teaching from them in the presence of this. So the incredible thing, wonderful thing is that one photograph we have now, the last remaining, which was taken by the Queen Mother of Sikkim, Lanshu. And she gave me the original negative of that. And it's amazing, when I saw this image, when I just looked into this, just gaze, just look into this, when you just look into the face, it just brings you right there. Right there. You know? Just for me, just looking at the Guru Rinpoche, the way he sits, the posture brings the presence of mind, brings meditation. You get it? It creates an atmosphere. You know, when you just look at it, it creates an atmosphere. That's why I think sometimes we have big Buddha images. Because sometimes you see we have big Buddha image in the temple. I think some, maybe not the complete reason, but I mean, one reason I will say in the West is that, you know, when your confusion is very big, you know, we have got a lot of confusion, and you go into the temple and you see the big Buddha, you find Buddha is much bigger than your confusion. See a big Buddha, very serene and very at peace. It immediately disarms you, brings the serenity of your mind. Such as also this wonderful image of Buddha at Buddha Gaya, the place of Buddha's enlightenment, you see. And then also Chor Rinpoche, the very famous, you see, Buddha, but adorned with Sambhokaya ornaments by Tsongkhapa Chimpo in the Lhasa. They are like the same, made by the same almost craftsmen. Anyway, so these images particularly looks like maybe Guru Ngandama. If we gaze into the face, it brings the presence of mind, meditation, and particularly for like Dzogchen practitioners or the Mahamudra practitioners, if we look into the gaze, into eyes, it brings the introduction to the nature mind. Senjinelu. Very inspiring. So sometimes if you have an image of Buddha, you know, like that, you just looking into this also calms the mind. Okay? Because what's important is, you see, what is important is we have to calm the mind. You got it? Okay? Calm the mind. Because I was just sharing yesterday with some friends, is that there's a very famous example by, I think Kamalashila, I think if I'm not mistaken, who said that, you see, if you try to see a painting in the night, a painting. This was in ancient times, You have to see with a candle, okay? If you want to see the picture, the painting, the candle must be both still and bright. If it's bright but not still, you won't see. If it's still but not bright, you won't see. That's why you need two qualities. Mind must be still. That's the calm abiding of shamatha or shine, Shiorenepa, same Shiorenepa. And then clear seeing, the brightness is connected with vipassana. Clear seeing of vipassana or langtong. Because when you say langtong, shine means, she means peace, by the way. She means peace, or pacify also. Ne is abiding or remaining, shine, which is now the accepted terminology for that is the worldwide, in the Buddhist world, is called calm abiding. It's the name for that meditation is called tranquility meditation, but the translation of shamatha is calm abiding, whereas vipassana is clear seeing, or called insight meditation. Why is sometimes interesting vipassana or langtong is called clear seeing? Because normally we don't see clearly. So clear seeing is unique because hlak means unique. Tong means seeing. So since we don't see clearly, clear seeing is unique. So anyway, so that when basically it's like when your mind is clear of obstructions and mind settled in the state of peace, then from that a clarity inside dawns. It's like from your inner light or the inner wisdom begins to little bit shine forth. Begins to, you understand? And then with that, you see what recognizes the nature of mind is not your ordinary mind, but this clear insight. You understand? The ordinary mind, because it's already wrapped up in the duality, does not recognize its true nature. Whereas the clear insight, because when you talk about langtong or vipassana, it's not just the vipassana, by the way, because sometimes you hear vipassana, Goenka and others. That's just not just vipassana. That's just one form of vipassana, according to Theravada tradition. Just one form. But actually, when you go vipassana, many levels, in the Mahamudra lineage, in the Kagyu, shamatha vipassana, very important. And particularly, the vipassana is equated with nature mind of Tongpa Shunyata. And also in Dzogchen too, there are lamas who use vipassana shamatha as a framework for Dzogchen, as a base. This is, I'm already sharing with those who are a little bit familiar with teachings, but there are lamas also in Dzogchen don't use word shamatha vipassana, just straight teach the Dzogchen, but so depending on the methodology. But that in Dzogchen too, that vipassana can be equated to nature, mind, the state of Rigpa. So therefore there's two approaches. There's a wisdom approach, there's a method approach.